my name is Allie, and I think it's pretty hard to characterize like a long-term history in environmental advocacy, but what I will say is that my mom always prioritized spending time outdoors for me and my sister. Like, I had this very strong exposure to the outdoors from a very young age, and it was kind of one of those things that was like, why don't we all want to participate in keeping this safe and keeping this thriving? Yes, so our project was called Closing Idaho's Adventure Gap, inspired by James Edward Mills' book, The Adventure Gap, which talks about increasing outdoor access and education. The event featured almost like a fair where students could go and visit all these different stations that would teach them how do I set up a fly fishing rod, to how does walking on the trails impact the surrounding environment and erosion? How does my food that I eat affect the environment? What is environmental justice? Just all these different stations where students were able to learn about the environment and how they can interact with it and what their impact on it is. Obviously, we can't close the entire Adventure Gap, but our goal was to get more young people access to the items they need to participate in the outdoors, whether that's a coat, whether that's skis, rollerblades, whether that's hiking boots, like a backpack to keep all of their outdoors equipment in, whether that's a fishing pole. So there's just like such a broad variety of things that we were able to help these students access. One of the workshops that we had at the event was like how to fly fish. And it's like the tactical skills of how do I do this? Where do I go when I go hiking? How do I find the trails? That's what Ridge to Rivers was there to do. And the third thing we wanted to do is like, what does me participating in the outdoors mean? So like if you go off of the trail and don't participate on the actual trail that Ridge to Rivers made, how do you harm the environment? And what does that mean and how does it affect your life? It's like, because spending time outdoors has a strong positive association with caring about the environment and wanting to protect it. So we had tons of gear available that we kind of collected via donations from the community and purchasing with our grant funds. And then all of the students that were there took some gear item with them.
And how long did it take you to plan the event, and what was that process like?
So we applied for the grant in July and we received it in August, and our event happened in November. There was a collection of the gear part, there's finding a location. So we had the opportunity to work with the Boise Urban Garden School. We had an opportunity to work with Basilica Bio, which does environmental justice work. We worked with Ridge to Rivers. So there was also this period where we were just like reaching out and finding people who wanted to be a part of the group. The event went very well. We actually hosted it at a community center that was attached to an elementary school. And this is kind of in a lower income area of Idaho. So it's very nice to like actually reach the community that we were trying to reach, is get people who don't have this access to seek it and find it outdoors. And then we had tons of students come. We went through almost half of the gear, more than half of the gear that we brought. Of the students that attended, 85% of them visited every single station, which is what was really helpful. They weren't just coming, getting gear and leaving. They were actually learning and educating themselves about the environment.
What did you learn about community organizing that others can use for their events?
I think like at the beginning of the project, I tried really hard to like do it myself and try and figure everything out, but it was actually like our City of Boise representative that was able to help us the most. But I think community organization is not simple. Like, you have to be on top of a lot of moving parts. So I think if you're planning events, you should work with the people in your community who know how to do it, because they will help you find solutions.